I've been very fortunate to come from a city of very resilient, very welcoming, proud people here in the city of Minneapolis. And my dear parents taught all of my siblings and me about the service of love. And so I've been very fortunate to then eventually join the Minneapolis Police Department and give back to the very community, the very city that embraced me and has been so good to me.
You familiar with the motto of the Minneapolis Police Department?
Yes, I am.
What is it?
And that is to protect with courage and to serve with compassion.
And what does that motto mean?
We are oftentimes the first face of government that our communities will see. And we will oftentimes meet them at their worst moments. And so the badge that I wear and that members of the Minneapolis Police Department wear, it means a lot because the first time that we interact with our community members may be the only time that they have an interaction, and so that has to count for something. And so so it's very important for us to make sure that we're meeting our community in that space, treating them with dignity, being their guardians, and representing and all of the men and women that came before us who served so proudly on this department.
Sometimes you have to protect with courage and you have to use force. Is that correct?
At times, yes. As a police officer, you will have to use force.
Sometimes serving with compassion means to understand when force is not required.
Dan, rephrase.
What does it mean to then serve with compassion?
To serve with compassion, to me, means to understand and authentically accept that we see our neighbor as ourselves. We value one another. We see our community as necessary for our existence. And so that's what serving with compassion means to me.
You take it away.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anthony. Happy birthday to you.
Let it go run the stuff.
Let go the
Let it
food.
go.
Happy birthday, Anthony. Say his name.
Anthony McQuaid.
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 Anthony McLean, life matters.
Anthony McQuaid, life matters.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Thank you. So now we will take some of your questions and let the family get back to.
Then, during that traffic stop, the passenger of the car was asked to step out once the officer on the, I should start all over. We have a traffic stop with 2 people in the car and we have 2 officers. The driver of the police car approaches the driver of the traffic stop and he has a suspended license. That's fine. The officer talks to the passenger and asks him to step out of the car. As he steps out, there's a quick little engagement, nothing unusual, except you see Mr. McLean begin to break away from the officer by beginning to run between the 2 police cars. And you'll see this on the video. When we release the video in less than 48 hours, I hope in 24 hours, you'll catch all the facts. So my comments are off by a bit, they'll be clarified as you watch the critical incident video and all the raw video that will come with it. And so as he begins to run, the car video shows Mr. McLean running between the 2 cars with a handgun in his waist. The officer, driver officer, sees the handgun. The passenger officer sees the handgun when he begins to run. They begin to chase Mr. McLean, one of the officers out in front. And during that encounter, within just seconds later, there are 2 shots fired by the officer as he's chasing him. You'll see this on the video again. And the officer could see Mr. McLean with the handgun began to turn his body towards him. I don't know if they're making eye contact or not, or read the statements. The video won't give us that perspective if they're making eye contact or not. But you can see the weapon begin to kind of turn with the body. Whether that just comes from turning the head or something more was going to happen, there's no way for us to ever know that fact. So that it continues on. The officer, in fear for his safety, and for whatever reasons we'll find out, fires 2 rounds. One of those rounds, as we've heard, we were told that as Mr. McLean was laying on the ground, he was shot 3 times unarmed. Absolutely false information. As the pursuit's beginning, it's a foot pursuit, he fires the 2 rounds. One of the shots, as described by the doctor at HMH, strikes Mr. McLean's flank. The flank is between the front of your body and the back of your body. If that means the officer was, offset to Mr. McLean, or in fact, he began turning his body that way, we'll have to be able to investigate that to find out which one it is. I couldn't tell you, except that the officer is behind him when he fires his 2 shots.
Touch the area that you would call your flank on your body.
On your body, it would be right here. It'd be between the 2 areas.
So, towards his rib cage.
Right, and so
But it's side of the body, not.
in the back.
Yeah.
Right. So, but to some, what's the difference?
Okay.
But from a doctor's perspective, the flank is the flank is the flank. Directly, I think when we talk about the back, it's your back completely, so you have no turning, no nothing. It might be considered a complete run, and that can be problematic for everybody when we see that.
Was there an exit wound?
Yes, through the chest.
Okay, so the trajectory of the bullet came through the body and exited through
Yeah,
the chest.
correct.
So does that suggest that he may have been shot from behind?
No, the entry room decides where he was shot at.
So that's what he did.
Yeah, from the flank coming out. So more of that will be needed by the autopsy. We don't have a security clearance or a hold on the autopsy report, which is new, right? What do we always do, man?
For a year.
That's not happening. Okay.
So you're not putting an administrative hold
No,
on?
no.
You're giving me your word you're not?
Yes, sir. Jason, am I right on that?
No hold.
No hold.
And you're keeping the investigation in-house?
Yes.